Tired of being lied to about politics, the economy, world affairs, and national security? Find out what's really going on and why it matters. Thought-provoking news, timely insights, and critical commentary. Point Blank with Sam Kephart. The power of candor in an age of deceit.
The whole question of immigration, both legal and illegal immigration, has become a very hot topic globally, certainly for the United States and Western economies, Western Europe. So let's start with the United States. Obviously, the United States has been, a land where for virtually a couple hundred years, people from elsewhere have been able to come here, settle, get their lives together, and progress and, quote, live the American dream. And the United States really thrived on that through several of its major economic periods of expansion. Unfortunately and sadly, over the last 15 or 20 years, we have had a pretty porous border down along Mexico. And you need to know right up front, I have no issue with Mexicans or Latin Americans or Hispanics. They work their ass off based on the ones that I generally have had any dealings with, and they're incredibly wonderful people and very productive members of society and very family-oriented, all very positive traits. However, based on our Constitution and our federal laws and our federal administrative rules, we have on the books absolute set of workable methodologies for someone to become either a U.S. Temporary resident, permanent resident, or ultimately a citizen. There's rules on the books. There's a funnel system. There is a known pathway to citizenship. Now, maybe it's bureaucratic, and maybe it needs to be simplified and sped up or computerized better. I don't know. But we have a known path to citizenship, and yet we've had several administrations of the last 2 or 3 that really have not enforced that. Certainly in the Democrat realm, more likely than not, when an undocumented alien or an unregistered immigrant comes into the United States and they settle down somewhere, in certain states they're actually able to even go and vote, and most typically they vote Democratic. So it's a way of kind of stacking the deck over a very long period of time in favor of a Democrat administration and basically putting the Republicans out of business. So that's a big problem. Economically, it's a problem because you have a lot of social costs associated with unlimited and easy to access, constant, people coming across the border. They put a tremendous burden on schools, social services, health services, psychological services, driver's license issues. I mean, I could go on and on and on. The numbers are staggering. Now, some of you will push back on me and say, well, wait a minute, Sam, we need those immigrants here to do jobs that, quote, Americans won't do. Well, and to some degree, that is probably true. If you go to LA and go into most restaurants, I would say 90% of the dishwashers there are probably Hispanic. No argument there. But I want to remind some of you, certainly those of you that are my age or a bit older, that there's a solution here. Back in the 60s, there was a program, and you can go Google this, called Bracero, Bracero, Bracero program. And it was a formalized program where workers from Mexico could come as guest workers into Arizona, Texas, California to work in the vegetable, cotton, or other type agricultural fields and some construction fields. I don't have any problem with that. Well, today, with the biometric, eye check cards and thumbprints and all this, there's no reason we can't have an E, as in electronic, Bracero program. And, I spent a lot of years in the security industry. We absolutely can secure the border. I personally know how to do it. If you gave me the budget and probably about a year and a half, I could absolutely secure that border. So when they say it can't be secured, that's a simple lie. I was in the security business 17 years. That is a big lie. It's just simply not true. And we can have a guest worker program. For whatever reason, the political will has not been there to do that. And you need to ask yourself, why is that? Now, pause on the US and let's look at what has happened more recently in Western Europe. With the Syrian war going on in the Middle East and other hotspots over there, you have literally over the last year and a half or 2 years, something on the order of 1.5 million refugees, maybe closer to 2 million or 1.8 million, coming into various places in Western Europe. France, Germany, to some degree Italy, to some degree Great Britain. Greece has a lot of them. And you can't bring in hundreds of thousands of people, even on a humanitarian basis, without having some way to accommodate them, vet their backgrounds, and make sure there aren't terrorists embedded in there, check out their criminality, check them out for disease. And now these hundreds of thousands for any given country, or a couple million altogether, migrants in Europe are really causing major social unraveling. The bulk of them, almost all of them, are Muslim. Many of them are young men, not women and children, but young men. They don't know the languages indigenous to the areas they're settling for the most part. They have a chip on their shoulder because they're Muslim, and many of them don't like Judeo-Christian arrangements. They're more comfortable with Sharia law, which is the Muslim religious law, which becomes the law of the land in many Muslim countries. It's not traditional common law that we have in England or the United States. It's a whole different religious schemed law. So you have huge cultural gaps here, huge language gaps, huge health gaps, huge economic gaps, and you're not just bringing a few in at a time that you can handle, but literally tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands at a time. And it simply has become very unworkable. So if you want to look at why we don't want to have open borders with Mexico, simply take a look at what is not working right now in Europe. Just go do the research. It's not Sam Kephart's opinion. Go Google migrant issues or migrant problems in Europe, and it's all there. It's all there to see. But the press, which tends to be very left-wing, is behind this agenda, this social agenda of changing or wiping out the underpinnings of traditional Western society. And yes, I say it is a conspiracy, and I say it is intentional. And I'm Sam Kephart. This is Point Blank, where you will get the power of candor in an age of deceit.
Point Blank with Sam Kephart, the power of candor in an age of deceit.